Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and thanks for being here all these years. Today, I'm talking about the GNU Hyper. It's a board I tried when it was called the Hypercarve, and I got that in a wide variety of conditions. And then they changed the name to the Hyper. I got on this again at the demos for a limited amount of time, but it felt like the Hypercarve. So I rode the old Hypercarve in a wide variety of conditions. Got it everything from hard groomers to a little bit of pow. Got the new one in firm but fair groomers. Rode it with Union Atlas and Vans Verse. In the past, I've ridden it with Burton Kendo's, Adidas Tactical ADV, and a lot of other boots. To talk sizing, this 157 fit perfectly for my boot size and my weight. I wouldn't want to size up or size down. I could size up and it would be okay. If you like a little bit bigger board, you want a little more float, a little more speed, you're similar specs to me, you could probably go 160. Now, some things that might make you want to swipe right. This is loose, playful, forgiving, very easy to turn. It's got good pop and decent float for its shape. Some things that might make you want to swipe left. It's loose, it's auto spinny. It's not fun one-footing or flat basing with this kind of board. The base is slow compared to most of its competitors out there in this peer group. Now, when it comes to the shape, this is tapered and directional, but it has a pretty centered stance on board in comparison to the pretty set back stance on side cut. This only has a little bit of taper, so it has a very directional-ish, all mountain, slightly free ride kind of feel. When it comes to the camber profile, this is C2X, meaning rocker underfoot, going to a decent amount of camber that doesn't touch all the way down. So it feels very loose between the feet when you're one-footing off the chair and flat basing. It wants to auto spin on you, but it doesn't catch. So it feels like it's gonna be catchy, but it rarely ever does. It's a very forgiving board. And as long as you get on edge and engage the side cut a little bit, it tracks well enough. Some people really don't like this. Some people love it and can't live without it. So you have to decide if you're that kind of person. When it comes to edge hold, there is a healthy disruption in the side cut. You got a lot of mag here. It's not the most aggressive mag I've tried, but it's definitely up there. It can grab a little bit in soft snow, but it's very competent in hard snow once you get it on edge and get past that loose auto spinny feel. So this has a somewhat medium stiff flex, but because of the rocker in the middle, it's very easy to butter and play around with. It's already preloaded for a butter, so you get a little bit of extra leverage there. When it comes to pop, this pops pretty well. I prefer the C3 style camber a little bit more personally myself, but you can lean back and load up off the camber on the tip and tail, or even try to pop it a little bit from that rocker in the center, and it'll pop pretty well. As far as how this flex personality will perform in uneven terrain, I found that this does good in hard, bumpy snow. It does pretty good in soft, uneven snow. It's not the best out there, and it definitely feels more on the poppy side, but it never shits the bed, and it's a good all-day ride. Now, if you want to point it, this hybrid rocker type of personality is a little loose. You definitely have to have that edge engaged for it to feel comfortable and stable going straight, but it can be done, and it's pretty competent. There's enough dampness there to handle a moderate straight liner or two, but I'd definitely be happier on boards like the Lib Rig that have C3 but a little bit of early rise in the nose and tail. That'll do a little better for most who want to go straight on occasion. None are straight liners though. When it comes to the base, it's just not very glidey. It needs to be waxed all the time to keep its speed at an acceptable level. It's just not in the realm of other boards out there at this price point. Most of them have a faster base than this. It doesn't really have low lows though, but if you're into good bass glide, this isn't the board for you. When it comes to the overall turning experience, I felt like this is a very turny, very slashy, very quick turning board. When you get it on edge, that hybrid rocker, that pre-bend in the middle, hurries you up through the turn a little bit more. You have to lean really hard back into the camber on the tail, or really hard into the camber on the nose, or just go from like pretend these are my legs. You have to go like this and look like you're taking a shit and really press down to get this board to really spring out of the turn. I find that C3 does a much better job if you're into hard carving. That'll do better. But this has a very fun spring out of the turn if you can engage that camber. And I think a lot of people, especially if you want forgiving more than locked in and technical, you will have a fun time turning this. I did. I just had more fun on C3 stuff. But you can across the groomer carve. You can do down the line carves somewhat well, but it feels a little more turny, even though it has a very similar side cut to many other GNU and Libtech boards out there. I think that rocker in the middle just makes it feel like it's a deeper side cut than it is. Now, when it comes to powder, this has good directional float. You can set it back a little bit and get some float. Not as much as you would think for the setback on side cut, but overall, it's pretty good for an all mountain board and lower tier for a free ride board. What I do like about it is it has a more turny, surfy feel than you would think for the shape and being this centered on board. What's really cool is this board can ride switch very well. I had no problem going either direction. It looks like it wouldn't, but it does very well. It's okay for the park, but I think this lives more outside of the park and in the mountain. It'd be okay in the pipe. It's okay on a kicker. And overall, I think the Hyper is still a very fun, forgiving board that especially works well for people who skid their turns a little bit more, or for people who just want a forgiving, chill ride that floats pretty well in powder and has competent grip in all kinds of situations. So there you have it.